Steve Jobs changed the world. He put a tiny computer in your pocket, made buttons disappear, and turned a half-eaten apple into a global symbol of innovation. But let's get real. Jobs wasn't perfect. In fact, he was a nightmare to work with, a terrible father, and let's be honest, his stubbornness might have literally killed him. So what can we learn from the mess that he made? We'll reveal the single trait Jobs should have adopted at the end, so watch through. In the 70s, young Jobs co-founded Apple in his parents' garage. He wasn't the guy writing the code. His buddy Steve Wozniak did that. Jobs was the ideas guy. The salesman, the one who made you believe in his vision was the future, and to be fair, it was. But Jobs had a problem. He was an insufferable perfectionist. He pushed people past their limits, demanded impossible standards, and had zero patience for anyone who didn't get it. His obsession worked until it didn't. Apple grew fast, too fast, and guess what? Steve's ego grew faster. He alienated his own team, made enemies left and right, and by 85, Apple's board had had enough, so they fired him. But then instead of learning from his mistakes, Jobs doubled down. He started a new company called Next, and guess what? It flopped. He burned through millions, making a computer nobody wanted, all because he refused to learn from his mistakes. And then there's the personal stuff. For years, Jobs denied being the father of his daughter, Lisa. He went as far as to name a computer after her, but couldn't even acknowledge her as his daughter. Imagine being one of the greatest innovators in history, but failing to acknowledge your role as a father. It wasn't until years later that he finally stepped up, and sadly, the damage was already done. In 1997, Apple was failing, and guess who came crawling back? That's right, Steve. But this time, he was older, wiser, but still kind of an asshole. He axed products, crushed the competitors, and pushed his team harder than ever. And well, it worked. He gave us the iMac, the iPod, and then the iPhone. The world would never be the same. But even with all that success, Jobs never fixed his biggest flaw, his stubbornness. In 2003, he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. Doctors told him to get surgery right away. But no, Jobs thought he was smarter than science. He tried diets, fruit juices, acupuncture, everything except what could have saved him. By the time he gave in, it was too late. Steve Jobs died in 2011, and sadly, he was just 56 years old. So here's the real question. What could Steve Jobs have achieved if he'd gotten out of his own way? If he listened more? If he just treated people better? And if he didn't let his pride kill him? Jobs was a genius, and that's no doubt. But don't just copy his success. As leaders, we should learn from his failures. Because being a great leader isn't about being right all the time. It's about knowing and owning when you're wrong. And that's the number one lesson we should all take from Steve Jobs' legacy. So are you willing to learn from your mistakes? Stay hungry, of course, but stay foolish, not so much.